Qué lindo, qué lindo, qué lindo. How beautiful to see all of you here tonight. My goodness. This is fantastic. Wow. I am enthused just to see you all here tonight. Thank you for all the folks that have been here. But I'm going to ask a moment. I am Carlos Reyes, and I am running for Congress. All right? I'm going to ask a point of personal privilege that I have all my family here with me tonight, but my son, my granddaughter in Texas are not there. And as you know, Texas is struggling. So I'm going to ask for just a brief moment as we give a moment of silence for those who have lost their lives and those folks that are survivors that obviously are going to have battles over the next coming months as they come forward. Please bow your heads with me and let's have a moment of silence. Thank you very much. And keep in mind, over the coming months, Texas strong, right? We've heard all those phrases. Tonight, I want to thank all of you who are here tonight. If you're an elected official, honored guest, someone that's one of my dear friends, all of you, my dear friends, thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank those who have served and are currently serving in the military. We genuinely thank you for your service. You have our unconditional love and admiration. I also want to thank the amazing team that put this on tonight. And you heard a little bit about it from our speaker, Giorno. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the organization that was put together, the amazing campaign team, the Reyes Law Group, and all the volunteers that have assembled this tonight. I am grateful and thank you for being here tonight. Now, we know time is precious, and so we want to make sure that we're efficient with our time tonight. But I want to make a special plea to have you all look to my right and see my lovely wife and thank her. She gave her a slot. That's my secret weapon. Now, I know that you heard from my father-in-law, Raymond Lopez. I want to thank Grandpa for coming on stage, and I know you heard him regale you with the stories of New York, and those are stories that he shared with us and the grandchildren growing up. And so how he talked about obviously meeting Grandma and how he talked about his service in Korea. We heard all those stories growing up. Grandpa, I couldn't be prouder of you. We love you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for all the wonderful years of love. You've always treated me like a son. I also want to thank my dad. My dad came out here, and you know, he spoke from his heart. And it's a wonderful story that I'll share with you in a few minutes, a little bit more about it. But I want to thank my father and my mother, Mimi. Both were named by their grandchildren. They were named Mimi and Pipo, and they've both been an inspiration to me. It's pushing me forward to achieve more and to do more and to love and care people along the way. And so for them, I love them. In particular, I want to talk to my mom, who is watching on live stream as she is in a hospital bed today. Mimi, te quiero, por ti estoy aquí. Te quiero y te mando besos de tu hijo. Gracias, mi amor, te adoro. I love Mimi and people. Gracias, Papa. Gracias. I want to thank my entire family, frankly, for coming down here. My sisters, of course, who are my troopers, they're out there fighting. My aunts, uncles, cousins, sisters, sister-in-law and brother-in-law who are part of the family. You know, we have a large family. When we get together, I mean, it's huge. We treasure our large family and the many celebrations that we have together. And then tonight, just the first step, but tonight, we welcome our extended and growing family, you. Thank you for being here tonight. Now, yes, yes, I am running for the United States House of Representatives, Congressional District 23. And I'm running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's been in District 23 now for over 12 years, in the public arena all her adult life. Enough is enough, right? Time to send Debbie packing. After 12 years of representing everyone but her constituents, now she's more connected to radical extremists than her constituents. So for the benefit of voters of District 23, frankly, for the people of South Florida, and let's be honest, the nation, enough is enough. Now, I want to thank you for being here tonight. Now, why me? why now and why here? For those of you that don't know me, I am the son of Cuban immigrants, husband, father, grandfather, a businessman, a counselor, a neighbor, and a friend. My parents' story is similar to those of many who have immigrants in this country. We believe in faith, family, and freedom. And we expect and accept responsibility and accountability for our actions. We maintain a strong work ethic, and we believe in lending a helping hand, fostered by a never give up attitude. And we believe, if you can believe it, we believe in the American dream still today. And we want the same for our kids and for our grandkids. Now, the fact is, I was born in Miami, and within months of my birth, I was taken to Cuba to be baptized. As the story goes, once my father got there, he told my mom, hey, let's stay in Cuba. My mom, being a strong woman all her life, instantly responded, no, I want my son to study in the United States. She complained to my paternal grandfather, Reyes, that if he was serious, I'm going to go back to Miami and take Carlitos with me. Now, my grandfather, with the wisdom that he was known for, steadily responded to her, mija, you're a family now. I'll talk to him. And my grandfather did, telling my father, son, you have a family now. We're only 90 miles away. We can visit whenever we want. Now, my father did accept his father's guidance. And yes, his family was his responsibility. And being apart wasn't an option. And so it was. The irony, of course, as you were all laughing, is that Castro came into power shortly thereafter, and I did not get to meet my paternal grandparents for 25 years. I finally met them and spent time with them in the 80s on 2 visits they made to America. It was bittersweet, first because of all the years we missed, and because my grandfather shortly passed away in Cuba after his second visit here. Now, my grandmother did get a chance to return to America, and she stayed until she passed away. But my parents' story, my grandparents and my grandfather's wisdom, and the 25 years of separation serves as the utter example of the sacrifice that Cuban Americans and many immigrant families experienced to come to America. Why the American dream remains more powerful, and I would submit more important and more relevant and more needed preservation than today. It needs to be preserved today. That brings me back to my own family and my bedrock, Nancy, who I just mentioned a moment ago. She's a woman of class, style, elegance. She's always predisposed. I met her 36 years ago. We've been married 34 years, and she's always predisposed to see the best in everyone. Her parents, Olga and Ray Lopez, always treated me like a son and raised Nancy and her 4 siblings with plenty of love and direction. All who, along with their spouses and kids, are wonderful people and make up the huge family we are today. Now, Grandma Lopez is in heaven, but I know she's looking down and smiling with that beautiful smile she always smiled with. And Grandpa Lopez, as you know, you heard tonight, lives with us, and he is 86 years young. He's truly our John Wayne connection, teaching our grandkids and us about John Wayne all along the way, all about the Duke, the Duke, the epitome of American courage and strength. For youngsters, Google it right now. Google it. Read. He's a true legend. Now, my wife, as I said, married 34 years, gave me my 3 beautiful children, Carlos III, Alejandro, and Maria Elena. Everyone calls her Mari. Actually, when you add Carlos's wife, Lori, and Alejandro's fiancée, Haley, we have 5 beautiful children, who, along with our 3 grandchildren, Addie, otherwise known as the magical one, and if you're on Facebook, you know that. Carlos IV, we call him C4, and yes, he's pretty explosive. And the latest addition, the lovely Camila, that makes up our immediate family, and we're grateful to God for such blessings. Now, raising our family, we navigated all the challenges that raising a family requires. We worried about health care, about housing, about daycare, schooling, job security. Every once in a while, we even worried about a South Florida hurricane. So you understand that we appreciate the real issues, not imaginary ones, that South Florida families have to live with and deal with. Like all of you, we gave plenty of love and care, coupled with discipline, education, respect for all, especially the elderly. We made sure that you held doors for the ladies. We said thank you when someone did a nice gesture for you. You stood up and shook someone's hand and you looked them in the eye. And more often than not, we'd kiss them on the cheek and hug them. I mean, we're Hispanic after all. With fundamental values and principles in hand, the support of our families and our church family, we have seen our kids grow up to be amazing young adults, to prosper and really be just incredible young people. During all of this, by the way, Nancy managed to become a human resources expert and professional at several law firms, and today, along with finance, helps us at the Reyes Law Group do just that. But her greatest claim to fame has been the 9 years she served as the office manager for a church in Weston. After several years of managing 100+ lawyers at a time, somehow she found it easier to manage and assist 6 priests, or pastors rather. Imagine that. 6 pastors are easier. But help them she did. And those 9 years helping our church was very meaningful to our kids and her, because our kids attended the church school as well. It was a wonderful time indeed. Frankly, it was only because her husband was serious about this law firm building thing that God saw it fit to close that chapter and open up a new chapter at the Reyes Law Group, where ironically, we do run a different type of ministry. I mean, it's a ministry nevertheless. It's always about what? People. It's about people. Now, my credentials, what have I done and why have we been here? How have we gotten here? Our family continues to believe in the wholesome pursuit and belief of the American dream, a dream whose fundamental values are embraced by our family. We have clung to them with earnest zeal, a dream that allows for faith in God, a belief in redemption, and the flexibility to start again when you're knocked down. It's inherent in the American dream, but you have to do your part. You have to commit to family, to business, to vocation, and to your community. It's the latter commitment that I gravitated to as a young adult. During those early years, I was mentored by a gentleman named Rick Finizio, the father of my brother from another mother, Paul Finizio. He shared with me what would become a life mission statement for Nancy and I, which was to leave people better off than when we found them. Community service and philanthropy became a real commitment for us. And with that came the willingness to become involved, to learn, and to have experiences. In the 1990s, I started by being involved in the Broward County Bar Association, in the Florida Bar Citizens Forum, and I was a co-founder of the Broward County Hispanic Bar Association, all along helping lawyers how to practice law and giving access to the legal system for people needing access. It was also a time where I volunteered on boards like Kids Voting, teaching kids about democracy and voting. I also was involved with the Latin Chamber of Commerce, where we taught minority businesses how to become engaged and do business and be successful in the South Florida marketplace. I also was given the opportunity, invited to be on the board of the first charter school in Fort Lauderdale, the Broward County Charter School of Excellence, back when it was a novel idea. Now, in 1989, I had the privilege of being selected by then Governor Jeb Bush to serve as a commissioner of the South Broward Hospital District. You probably know it as the Memorial Healthcare System. It was a volunteer position, but it was an opportunity to do good in an area that people all need help in. 8 years on the Memorial Board was an immensely significant experience, and it continues to resonate with me today as we hear all the healthcare challenges raging across the country. Now, as commissioner and chairman of the board at one point, I headed the overseeing of a $1 billion healthcare system, a position that was both daunting and exhilarating at the same time. It did provide me, though, a unique perspective to view all the sides of the growing challenges faced by patients, by providers, and by administrators in healthcare. As chairman of the board and as a member, I participated in significant decisions that saw a variety of things happen. The myriad creation of services that were important to the residents of South Broward, like the Sickle Cell Anemia Division, like the Memory Loss Center, like the establishment of primary care locations across the South Broward County that reduced the overburdened emergency rooms, that provided access and health care to people that couldn't get access to it, and actually doing it by reducing the cost of delivering the service. We were even involved in, and planned and executed the expansions of Memorial Regional Hospital, Memorial Hospital West, and Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. Who's been at one of those hospitals today? Anyone? Right? We actually even planned, purchased, and saw the construction of Memorial Hospital Miramar, the newest hospital out west. I also was involved in issues where folks said, listen, we have challenges. When doctors were faced with high premiums, I called the stakeholders together and called a meeting to find a solution, and ultimately created with the administration a captive insurance plan to help doctors have more affordable premium rates, because we need doctors to take care of us when we're ill. And all of this and more, maintaining and reducing our millage rates for 7 of the 8 years I served on the board, reducing the tax burden on South Broward residents. For that, I was very proud and have learned much that I can bring to District 23. Now, in the 2000s, I continued to serve in United Way of Broward, Leadership Florida, the Community Foundation of Broward, the Broward Partnership for the Homeless, whose focus and missions was to help the homeless in a way that was meaningful. It was a hand up, not a handout. And it's part of my philosophy, as my wife and I have also been involved in fundraising, where we worked with the American Heart Association, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, the Legal Aid of Broward County, fundraising to do what? Another sort of ministry to help people where they need to be helped. Over the last 7 years, I've had the privilege to serve as the interim CEO and president of the Light of the World Clinic, a clinic whose mission is to meet the healthcare needs of those, thank you, without the means to pay. The clinic, founded by my dear friend Dr. Erwin Vasquez and his wife Elaine Maselli Vasquez, has been fulfilling this mission for more than 27 years. When he passed away 6 years ago, the board asked me to step up in the CEO role, if only temporarily. The decision was easy. Here's a place where leaving people better off than when you found them means all the difference in the world. The entire organization, from our medical director, Dr. Reyes, no relation, to our executive director, Sandy Lozano, to all the volunteers, the doctors, the people that are involved, that makes a meaningful difference in the lives of so many. Among my greatest joys was helping the clinic, after 24 years, finally buy its home in Oakland Park. Now, my most recent volunteer experience has been as it relates to the Broward County Charter Review Commission. When it was being formulated by the Broward County Commission, I was appointed by Broward County Commissioner Lois Wexler, a Democrat, as one of only 4 Republicans serving on the 19-member board. As I told the commissioner at the time, I don't have an axe to grind or a perspective to push. Instead, all I can say is my family has been here since 1970, and our goal is always to better the community. I want to see good government for the community and for all. If appointed, I would listen, evaluate, and decide as a board member what changes, if any, would make Broward County government more accessible and responsible to the people. That's it. That remains true, and that has been logical and true. It's the most common sense approach to any government. It remains my persuasion today. That's it, nothing more. Professionally, I have been blessed to be involved in practice law in South Florida for 29 years. I've worked hard along the way to be the best lawyer I can and provide the best results for my clients that I can. Fortunately, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Fortunately for me, my focus is commercial and residential real estate, transactions, litigations. There's plenty of it in South Florida. At least there has been all my career. Along the way, I've had many successes, and I've been blessed to meet some great lawyers. Along the way, many opened doors to me. One of those great special gentlemen was the late, great Henry Latimer, who recruited me to what was then a firm called Fine Jacobson that was a big firm in its heyday. He and others opened the doors to me and helped me reach levels of success and stature that a son of an immigrant could only have dreamed about. Years later, being a partner at Greenberg Traurig and Ackerman Centerfit didn't come easy. It was heady stuff, I will admit, but I'm grateful for the experiences professionally. Now, it hasn't always been wine and roses, though. The road hasn't always been paved with gold. I mean, there were bumps along the way. I mean, I did make one mistake when I thought I was joining a growing firm called RRA that year after joining the firm, it imploded. It did so because the firm's principal was a character named Rothstein that turned out to be a lying thief that stole millions in the process. Many of us senior lawyers, county judges, circuit judges that had joined the firm were victimized as well. It certainly was chilling. But this is what's great about America. If you're honest, if you maintain your integrity, if you simply do the right thing, your character is revealed under the most demanding of circumstances. A brief review by authorities and they closed the book and said, nothing here. Despite being another victim, thank you. Despite being a victim of this character, instantly it served to validate that if you want an ethical lawyer, Reyes is your guy. By the way, it led to my entrepreneurial leap and formation of the Reyes Law Group. When I formed the firm in 2010, we were in the middle of a real estate meltdown and an economic crisis, otherwise known to the rest of us as the Great Recession, the single greatest economic meltdown of our collective lives. You remember that? When lawyers and businesses were shutting down, I did the opposite. I lit up my entrepreneurial spirit and decided to pursue the American dream with full force. As others shut down, I worked harder, smarter, and with purpose. I focused on a market need and fulfilled it. As people were laid off, I hired people. Together, our legal team has helped countless families, individuals, and businesses navigate the real estate meltdown and later enjoy the real estate recovery. We actually built a law firm during the Great Recession because we believed in the American dream. Through it all, my wife and I have tried our best to leave people better off than when we found them by remaining steadfast in our focus to honor God in what we do, remain true to our fundamental values, and base our visions on the principles premised on faith, family, and freedom. And that, faith, family, and freedom. Now that brings us to today. Why me, why now? Today, like you, I see what's happening in the country, the disharmony, the decline in values, traditions, education, lack of respect, all the factors that have served our great nation from its foundation. I can't help think, where will this insanity end? I'm reminded of this question: what kind of America are we leaving to our kids and grandkids? Who's fighting for our grandkids? I honestly have to ask, who's going to speak to the insanity and simply demand some normalcy? Better yet, just some plain old common sense. I've decided that we need more people saying what needs to be said in positions where it makes a difference. I'm running to become the next congressman of District 23 because I believe it has come time for serious people to tackle serious issues. The challenges we're facing are obvious. And my experience in business and all the years in community volunteering has prepared me for this moment. A moment in time when we need to tackle issues that affect everyone. America needs a congressperson that actually talks about answers to real problems, not the political fad of the day. A congressman that believes freedom is more than just a history book lesson, one that demands health care actually be affordable, that focuses on helping promote ideas to give us a robust economy, that sees national security as more than just a buzzword, that realistically sees immigration as both security and a rule of law issue. For the first time in 12 years, I believe voters in District 23 have a real choice where a candidate has actually run a business, knows what it is to meet a payroll, understands the impact on regulations on small businesses and how it can kill it. Actually, someone that's volunteered in the community and has actually studied, learned, participated in, taken actions on issues that actually has impacted communities, individuals, and families. Serious issues need serious people involved and focused. instead of the politically expedient trash that is spewed out as policy today. My issues, briefly, healthcare is number one. Many of you know my family's situation. For 18 months, we have been grappling in our very own family. My mom fell and became paralyzed from the chest down. If you want to talk about catastrophic, when your family member is affected, and then see them go through the healthcare system that we have, the financial and logistical challenges, the crazy disjointed nature of healthcare, the bureaucrats making decisions for you. You know, lucky for us, we're fighters in the Reyes family. We don't take no for an answer. But the pain of seeing someone that you love so much suffer, and you can't fix it, is debilitating, I'll admit. But we need to do better. We can't have health care where you have government inserted between the patient and the doctors. It can't, absolutely not. You can't have it be delivered in one size fits all. Healthcare has to be a patient-centered effort. And you have the right to choose your own insurance coverage. Today, families are facing outrageous premiums and deductibles. By a show of hands, how many here saw their premiums go up under Obamacare? I mean, I know mine went up $700 a month over a 2-year window. How many saw their deductibles go up? I mean, right? Mine went up to $6,000. I might as well not have insurance. Not surprising, as many predicted, insurance companies have pulled out of the marketplace. Now, there were some good things about affordable health care, right? I mean, there was the coverage of pre-existing conditions, but unless we fix it, all the experts say it's going to fall by its own weight. We need to reduce the burden on everyday middle-class Americans. We can't afford it anymore. Now, having been on the Memorial Healthcare System, I know the cost of uncompensated care and underinsured treatment. We saw the amount fall from $2 billion down to about $600 million in the last year. We need to solve this crisis. As your congressman, I will assemble stakeholders of providers, doctors, and patient advocates to address and formulate real and practical solutions to this financial crisis. My family knows firsthand that if you have your health, you have everything. It would be my number one priority. Number two, I'm going to talk about, thank you, healthcare. Number two, jobs in the economy. Long time ago, some other guy said, it's the economy, stupid. Well, I'm not a career politician, I'm not a perennial office seeker, but I know it's about the economy. Now, you and I are invested in the economy, our neighbors are. I've spent my whole entire life as an attorney fighting for rights. Too often, politicians rig the game against you and me. Experience is not measured in dollars, but in actions. We need to make it easier for small businesses to create jobs. We need to reduce and eliminate as many regulations as we can. An economy that was growing for 8 years at less than 2% just doesn't do. We need the robust economy. Where we're at today, we have to build on that. As a business owner and entrepreneur, a believer, as you know, in the American dream, we need to make it easier to unleash the enterprise in the American people, and District 23 can be the start of that, where we create jobs, where we increase the tax base, where we help the organization with every cash flow. As your congressman, I will contact the Florida Chamber of Commerce and ask them to assemble a board of chamber leaders in our district to meet and hash out ideas to remove unnecessary regulations, reduce taxes, and unleash businesses so that right here we can start the growth in District 23. Now, there's many issues we're going to go through. ISIS, crisis, terrorism, immigration. We have so many issues to battle today. Seniors, District 23, it's important. Many years ago, we made a deal with American workers. We said, work hard, play by the rules, pay your taxes, and you will not be destitute in retirement. Any proposed changes to Medicare and Social Security must guarantee that current retirees receive the benefits that they're entitled to. Seniors are living longer. That means we all are. Protecting them and ensuring that the federal government keeps their promise is among our highest priorities. But keep in mind now, Medicare has trillions of unfunded liabilities. Social Security is suffering the same problem as Medicare. The ratio of workers has plunged over 75% since the 60s. More and more elderly and disabled are being pushed into institutionalized care. Without action, millions of seniors could lose their health care. And the youngest will have to shoulder the burden of the cost and the shrinking benefits. As your congressman, I will put aside partisan politics and work together as Americans to find a viable solution that will prevent future expenses and pain for current and future generations of seniors. And last but not least, I will create incentives to allow the elderly and the disabled to maximize their independence within their own home. Now, there's more issues. I have positions, and they're in our website. Serious issues need serious people to fix them. We need to fix them. These are the same critical issues we will focus on. You can find out more about our positions. Go to our website. I know it may sound corny, but it is there. Go to www.carlosforcongress.com or carlosreyesforcongress.com or carlosreyesparaCongreso.com. Now, all this said, our latest and greatest challenge, and I want to focus on this especially tonight, is freedom. Freedom. In the land of freedom and liberty, we have another threat today. Our freedom is at risk. You have people running around the country protesting free speech. For God's sake, this is not Nazi Germany, communist Cuba, or the old Soviet Union. This is the United States of America where freedom and liberty reign. Free speech is not a nice idea or some vague concept, but it's in our Bill of Rights and our very own sacred Constitution. Within the Bill of Rights through our Constitution, it's not our 10th Amendment or our 8th Amendment or our 4th. It's our First Amendment right that each citizen and resident enjoy. It is America. That's all right. That's right. This is the America we know, where I may disagree with your point of view, but I will defend your right to express it. Yet today, you've got extremists who disagree with you and call you, who decide to, if they disagree with you, they call it hate speech to shut you up. It's outrageous. Let's be honest. When they do, they're the haters. Yes, trying to shut someone up because you disagree and label them as hate speech, that makes them the hater. Now, the citizens and residents, and ultimately the voters of District 23, are people like you, like me, who are wondering, when will the insanity stop? When will normalcy return? When will serious people with just plain old common sense come back and start tackling serious problems dealing with all the real challenges our families, young and old, are facing? Let's be honest, liberals and conservatives have long had differing opinions on politics. We had debates over the proper role of government for as long as I can remember. That was democracy in action. Our Congresswoman proudly states that she's a progressive. Well, let's call it what she is, an extremist. She's lost touch with her constituents. She no longer represents the voters of District 23. Instead, she's thrown in with the alt-left, or worse than that, the Antifa, that radical nutcases that hide behind masks and scarves and advocate for chaos and violence across the country. Groups that ultimately want to disrupt and destroy the single greatest country on the face of the earth. For the voters and residents of District 23, conservatives and liberals could always agree that America was the beacon of freedom and liberty. We were the shining city on the hill, the country where people around the world are vying to come here because they're free to be and do whatever their hearts desire. In fact, here in South Florida, we don't have to go far. In our very own backyard, that's the reason for years you've seen people jump into rafts and risk their very lives swimming and rowing from Cuban harbors to Key West and not the other way around. The time has come to say, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, enough is enough. This is a congresswoman who has come out and has identified herself as a progressive. Again, let's call it what she is, an extremist. She's more engaged with corruption than solutions. She panders to extremists who want to shut down your free speech has more time to argue about statues than instead of health care issues. She worries more about indicted staffers than the national security breaches that staffer may have caused. Drain the swamp. Add to that, she's never worked a day in the private sector, never actually ran a business, never had the pressure of meeting a payroll. No wonder she can't offer solutions to any of the real problems families and businesses face today. Mostly because all she does, and has done for years now, is play politics to the detriment of the voters of District 23. Enough is enough. And by the way, here's the kicker. Her opponent in her party, her race, thinks she's not progressive enough. The extremist progressive, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is not left enough. Talk about two candidates in that race having left their constituents behind. Yes, enough is enough. Debbie, if you're no longer a believer in the country, if you're no longer going to stand up for the values and ideals of our country, if you're no longer going to fight to preserve the fundamental precepts of liberty and freedom, if all you want to do is play politics and not deal and help the voters of District 23 with the serious issues that we have, Debbie, it's time to go. If chaos instead of solutions is what you offer the voters of District 23, Debbie, it's time to go. If labeling freedom of speech as hate speech is something you support, Debbie, it's time to go. If joining and becoming a card-carrying member of the alt-left, or worse, Antifa, Debbie, it's time to go. Now, to do this, it starts with me, you, all of us, needing to step up, step out, and shout out, not in America, not now, not ever. They say that District 23 is gerrymandered one way. Now, I say people are people. The voters of District 23 are looking around, like everyone else, and wondering, where is this insanity leading us to? The voters of District 23 share similar beliefs about family, education, work ethic, freedom of speech, dare I even say Israel. She herself needs to know that as a liberal progressive, she is now part of the crazy left. So now I submit to the citizens of District 23, especially liberal Democrats, you have more in common with this Republican than the Congresswoman of the last 12 years. Now, this campaign tonight begins with the philosophy that we're going to reach out to every voter, knock on every door, make phone calls, put out messages through all available means to reach all the voters. This candidate will listen and appreciate the voter issues and challenges and look for common sense solutions. It's time for some sanity in our politics, a return to some normalcy. Simply put, a return to just some plain old common sense. Now remember, there's a lot of work to be done. We're going to have a big political battle to take the game out there to the folks. We have to outwork them, outflank them, and beat them at the election. Ignore what you hear from some places or what you read. When it's obvious, I need you to stand up, knock it down, and emphasize a real issue of concern. Don't be suckered into some crazy conversation, because these typically are political operatives that want to distract you. You answer with the answers to make issues on issues of real concern with real common sense, because I want the people, the thousands that will read and hear what you post, what you say, what you comment, to know you're the one with common sense and you're supporting the candidate that stands for common sense. Stand up and be counted. It's time that we return to common sense politics to work on real issues that matter for real people. My name is Carlos Reyes, and I am running for the U.S. House of Representatives, Congressional District 23. I will not only work for your vote, I will ask for your vote, and with God's favor, I will earn your vote. Now tonight, thank you for being here tonight. Our tables are set up in the back. We need contributors, volunteers, people spreading the word all throughout District 23 and South Florida. The time for action has arrived. The time to give of your time, money, and effort to save our District 23, the state of Florida, and I'm going to say the country from the madness we see throughout the land starts here and now. A time for common sense. Join me in this moment and this movement of renewal for our community and for America. Thank you for being here tonight. To all of you here tonight, the citizens of District 23, the state of Florida, America, God bless you, and good night, and enjoy the party.